So we did the phase shift the first way. Right? We took this. We found we found the phase shift in the period, and we just started here and then added the period to it, and we got an interval. Right? Another way to do that is usually quicker, but in this case would be to take this. Would be to take this center piece right here and put it all inside the domain of cosine, right? So we'd have negative 2x plus pi halves is less than or equal to, good job, 2 pi, which is greater than or equal to 0. Start solving for this x value right here, right? Add negative pi halves to both sides. We get negative pi halves is less than or equal to negative 2x, which is less than or equal to 3 pi halves. Everybody see how I got that? Now what's going to happen here is something weird, and when I did this earlier today, it even caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, what's going on here? I'm going to divide by what? Negative 2. What's really important? I'm going to divide. So I'm not thinking about my algebra as much as I should have. I start to do this, so look what happens. I divide by negative 2. So divided by negative 2, divided by negative 2, divided by negative 2. I get pi fourths. I get x here, and here we get negative 3 pi fourths. What's the important thing that I have to remember? Something really weird happens here. What is it? If you multiply or divide an inequality by a negative number, what happens? Try it. 5 is greater than 2. Yes or no? Multiply the whole thing by negative 1. Negative 5, negative 2. What happens? Speak up. The inequality switches, doesn't it? So here, this is what caught me off guard, Maggie, when I thought about this. This is this way. As soon as I divided by a negative number, this had to switch, didn't it? So it had to go to this, and instead of this, it has to go to this. Do you see it? Now what it gives me is the interval from here, Maggie, to, let me see, I can't even get there. Pretend that you can get there, to there. Do you see it? It still gives me, Danny, you're saying no? Will, are you with that? Because all I need is, remember we talked about it the other day, we need an interval. It's not the interval, an interval. It just gives us a different one, doesn't it? The first one we got was pi fourths to 5 pi fourths. What's the distance? Pi fourths, otherwise known as pi. What's the distance between pi fourths and this? Pi again. We're just on a different interval. Does that make any sense? All right. I'm glad they can't see you guys right now.